This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to do a smackdown between two Windows 8 Transformer tablets that are very similar. We have the HP Envy X2 and the Asus VivoTab TF810C. Both have separable keyboards. Both are 11.6-inch Windows 8 tablets with Atom processors. And we're going to see the differences now. So here we have the HP Envy X2, and this is the Asus Vivo TF810C. Both look remarkably similar, don't they? They're both 11.6-inch displays. Both have IPS displays, 1366 by 768 resolution, transformers with the removable keyboard dock. The dock is included with the HP. You don't buy the tablet separately. It comes with this nice dock right here. And Asus sells the keyboard dock separately from the tablet itself. Both run on the same 1.8 gigahertz dual-core Intel Atom Clover Trail CPU with 2 gigs of DDR2 RAM and 64 gigs of eMMC storage. So you're looking at the same internals in terms of horsepower. That said, the HP benchmarks slightly faster on PC Mark 7. You're talking not a huge difference, 1256 on PC Mark 7 versus 1424 for the HP Envy X2, so those numbers are not wildly apart, and they're both quite below what you would see on a Core i5 system. Typical Ultrabook that scores about 5,000 with an SSD drive. A little bit difference there. Both have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. It's worth noting that the Asus is only single-band Wi-Fi, 802.11bgn, that's 2.4 gigahertz band only, and you get dual-band Wi-Fi, including the 5 gigahertz band on the HP. I really am surprised that Asus, for one of their higher-line products, just went with single-band Wi-Fi. It's pretty nice to have that 5 gigahertz so you can avoid interference with other Wi-Fi access points and with Bluetooth. They both have Bluetooth 4.0. Asus steps up a little bit with GPS and NFC, neither of which are present on the HP. Both of these guys have obviously island-style chiclet keyboards right here, and they have trackpads. Both are pretty good trackpads considering the fact that they're quite small. I actually prefer the one on the Envy a little bit better in terms of its responsiveness and its performance. It has a little bit of a texture on it, which some of you folks might not like, similar to some of the other recent Envy tablets. And they add ports in the keyboard base. Now at the HP, take a look at this first, you get 2 USB full-size ports. There are USB right here. We have a full-size HDMI. There's our headphone jack. And on this side we have USB port again. These are all USB 2.0 because Intel Atom can only address USB 2.0. It doesn't support USB 3.0. And this is our charging port right here. There is no micro USB port on the device itself, on the tablet itself. So if you need to use USB, you're going to have to dock it in the included keyboard dock. Another thing to note on the HP Envy X2 on the dock right here, this is well concealed with the dummy blank here, but full-size SD card slot, and both of these are compatible with SDXC cards. So nice to have that for you folks who travel around with a digital camera and you need a full-size slot. With the Asus dock, and again this is optional, this does not come with the tablet, here's our USB 2.0 port, this is our charging port right here, and on this side we have another USB 2.0 port, that's it. So fewer ports on that optional dock. Both do have batteries inside to extend runtimes, nearly double them. One plus for the Asus is under this little teeny door here that's really hard to open. There is a micro HDMI port. With the HP, you actually have to make sure it's plugged into the keyboard dock. Then you have a full-size HDMI port, which is rather convenient. You don't need an adapter or a specialty cable, but then again, you do have to plug it in to the keyboard dock. You don't have to do that with the Asus. Now, though the Asus keyboard dock is a little bit lacking in terms of ports and card slots, one thing they do give you in the box is this nifty little adapter, sort of like a miniature version of the adapter we used to see on the Transformer had Android tablets. And this plugs into the docking connector on the bottom of the tablet and has a USB 2.0 port, so you do not have to use the dock. Now, that is important with the Asus because, once again, dock is not included, separate purchase. Let's talk about price. In the United States, the Asus is considerably more money. Right now, it's the most expensive Intel Atom Windows 8 tablet/transformer on the market. It's lists for $799, and I haven't seen it discounted in the 2 months or so that it's been out. And the keyboard dock's another additional $199, so you're looking at $1,000. It's a lot of money to pay for an Atom system. HP, they started out with a high list price for the Envy. It was $849, but after about a week, that price dropped to $749 at retailers, and now we've been seeing places like Staples and OfficeMax having pricing wars and dropping it down to $599, and then they have stackable coupons on top of that. So clearly the HP Envy X2 is going to be the more affordable machine. In fact, it's one of the best deals on the market right now for Intel Atom transformers. So price is important to you. you're probably done right now. You've already heard it, what you need to know. This guy's going to be a lot cheaper. Now, overseas, I've heard in Europe, they're priced more similarly. The HP is, relatively speaking, more expensive than it is here. So, in that case, keep watching. The other really important difference is digital pen. Now, when HP came out with the NVX2, they said there was going to be an optional Atmel digital pen available to it. That has not materialized. I've actually had one on order with HP for about a month now. Still MIA. In fact, it's disappeared from their website. Same goes for, it's the same pen that will be used with the ElitePad 900, so I wouldn't count on it at that point. You can use capacitive stylus with this, just like you would with an iPad, but honestly, it's sort of like trying to give a speech with mashed potatoes in your mouth using a capacitive stylus. Imprecise, takes longer to get the same thing done that you could do with real digital pen. Asus has a Wacom digitizer and includes this really lovely pen. Granted, there's no silo for it, but that means that there's room for a full-size pen here with a nice eraser, a button, precise, great for note-taking, key for digital artists. You're just not going to use a capacitive stylus to draw if you can help it. Now, not in our competition right here, but also worth considering is the Samsung ATIV Smart PC 500T. That one also has a Wacom digitizer. Comes with the keyboard dock as an option. Much more plasticky looking, but sturdy enough. Also cheaper than the Asus, at least in the United States. Now we're going to undock both of these so you can see what they're like as tablets, and so we can look at the construction. I'll just show you the difference also between using a digital pen and a capacitive stylus for trying to write or draw. So the HP Envy is the easiest to dock and undock and the most secure. There's no wobble here other than the whole unit. If you do that, it's very sturdy. And you just slide this latch right here, very easy to reach on the front, pick up the tablet, and you're done. All metal construction here, aluminum. Nice high quality looking, maybe a little flashy for some folks who like a more understated design, but good looking. And likewise the keyboard dock, clad in aluminum. Good looking, looks a lot like an Envy product. Certainly the design aesthetic is of an Envy product. Metal everywhere. Now the Asus also features mostly metal construction. The keyboard dock is all metal. There's a plastic area on the back to improve antenna reception. But here you can see it kind of flops around inside, doesn't it? That's just not so cool. Good thing is, of course, when you're pushing back on it, it's pretty stable. So it's only wobbling like that. It does the same thing when it's closed. Not so fond of that. The release latch is a little more fiddly. At least once it's mated together, it's a pretty sturdy connection. It's not like the Samsung ATIV tablet PCs that are prone to disconnect. It does connect well, but you have to slide a latch over here, which is kind of awkward because you really want to be pressing down on the keyboard dock while lifting up on your tablet. But you have to slide the latch here, somehow hold your keyboard dock down like with your arm, and then undock it. Now if we take a look at the back, nice metal construction here. Again, this plastic to improve wireless reception. Important, especially when you have a GPS, because GPS is pretty sensitive. Nice looking dock. This one really matches Asus's typical ZenBook aesthetic. Also very attractive. Got a nice wedge shape. Metal on the bottom with rubber feet. So similar concept right there. So how do these guys look when they're masquerading as notebooks? Well, here they are, what they look like closed. Asus a little bit more understated. HP maybe a little bit flashy there with this, hey, look at me, I'm aluminum kind of look, but a little bit more of an integrated look because you just have the same finish everywhere. A little bit more Apple-esque in terms of just going with a very unified look. Asus, of course, they have no choice but to have that stripe here because they got the plastic. And that's what it looks like. Now the Asus doesn't stick out too much over here where the keyboard dock mount point is. The HP has a little beanie head. You notice it most if you look at it like that, this prominence sticking out over here. In terms of weight, they both weigh 3 pounds when they're docked in their respective keyboard docks. When it comes to the charger, Asus goes with one of their little wall wart style chargers. It has a removable cable. This is a USB style connection right here. It's a 10 watt, 5 volt, more like what you would find for a mobile OS tablet, an Android tablet, and it terminates in a proprietary connector that plugs into the Asus. With the HP, you get a miniature version of your standard laptop power supply right here. So a little bit bigger, a little bit bulkier to carry around. But this guy puts out more volts, charges more quickly. So that's pretty nice, especially when you've got 2 batteries in these guys to charge. It really, speeding up charging times helps. Neither of them is super duper fast when it comes to charging. The Asus, if you have a depleted dock and tablet both, takes over 6 hours to charge. And the HP takes about 4 hours to charge both. And now we have the Asus VivoTab, and we've got the digital pen, so you can see what it's like to write and draw with this. And we're using the free version of OneNote that you can download from the Windows Store. It's a lot like writing on paper. I do have horrible handwriting, but and we even have levels of pressure sensitivity, so you're never going to get from a capacitive stylus. And if you want to draw something, it's pretty good. It's like, it's like drawing. It works. Now we'll try that on the HP using a capacitive stylus. And now we have the HP Envy and a capacitive stylus. I've picked a smaller one because you get a smaller point, a little bit more precision there. It really doesn't matter that much other than the tip size and what you're comfortable with when it comes to a capacitive stylus. They all do the same thing. Note that a lot of them are really tuned to work best with the iPad's capacitive display, and results with Android tablets and Windows tablets can be less pleasing than it is with an iPad as a result. So now I'm in Windows Journal because the free version of OneNote in the Metro UI actually doesn't support using a capacitive stylus directly. So we're going to try to write. First thing, you're not going to get any palm rejection here with a capacitive stylus, so you have to be careful. And then sometimes it comes and it goes. So you have to be a little bit patient. You're going to have a little bit of sometimes drop out of words. Well, there it is. And if I try to draw a face, it just misses some of my strokes, even though I'm pressing pretty hard. It's torture, folks. If you need the pen, get the Asus or the Samsung TF810C. So now we're going to check out video playback in terms of how the screen looks, in terms of how well they both handle 1080p video. Here's a little spoiler. They both handle 1080p video equally as well. They have the same CPU, GPU, and everything else inside. And what the speaker volume is like, because the HP Envy has Beats audio, or what they call Beats audio. To me, the stereo speakers don't sound any more special than they do on any other tablet. The Asus has stereo speakers as well, so let's see the difference. First, we'll go with the HP. Both of these are set to 90% volume, by the way. Plays fine, looks nice. Volume, not astounding. Fullness, not astounding. Much better in headphones. Now we'll try the same thing on the Asus. Not much different. Not quite as loud, but not a huge difference there. In terms of ability to play back video, obviously it's similar. Now when it comes to overall screen quality, these are both really lovely IPS displays. Yes, they're not full HD, but then again, that's a lot for the Intel Atom to have to drive. And the resolution in desktop mode here actually works pretty well. You don't have to do any scaling to read things, so I'm not going to complain. Tiny text won't look as sharp as on full HD, but other than that, with Atom tablets, you're always looking at 1366 by 768. Both of these have very wide viewing angles we would show you, but glare becomes a factor, and pretty much you're just going to be seeing the glare off of our lighting for our shooting in our studio here. The Asus has an IPS Plus display, but honestly, according to our measuring equipment and to my eyeballs, it's not really any much brighter than the HP. In fact, they're about the same in terms of brightness. So either one, they look equally as lovely to me. Quite nice, and both of them I like a little bit better than the Samsung TF810C, which uses a PLS display. I find that these have slightly more natural and warm colors. In terms of Windows Experience Index, they're just nearly identical here again because you're looking at the same hardware platform. At first, the HP Envy scored a little bit higher, but then we got a driver update on the Asus, and it picked up a little bit for graphics scores, and you can see what the scores are right here. Really, they're so close that there's just... I wouldn't pick one over the other. Now for some customer-facing issues. The HP Envy X2 is available at many stores. It's pretty easy to find, and HP's support for this in terms of drivers has been quite good. They've had updates available readily. You can use the updater on the device itself to do it, or you can get them from the website. Asus has been playing a strange cat and mouse game with drivers ever since the VivoTab TF810C came out. They didn't have any drivers available. They didn't update it. Customer support generally really didn't know anything about this. Finally, just recently, updates for the drivers appeared, and you can only get it through live update on the device, which would be okay. I always like to have them available on the website just in case, but live update, in fact, is pretty flaky, and it took us about 2 days of trying on that. Makes me a little bit worried about the experience on the Asus. They don't seem to be quite as behind that as HP is behind their product. And driver updates to the Intel Atom are particularly important because with Windows 8 there were some bugs with the initial release that we saw in the fall and early winter with these devices, so you need those driver updates, trust me, to make it behave better. In terms of performance, they both feel about equally as quick. Subjectively, I feel like the HP is a little bit more stable. At least for me, it's crashed less. Neither of them crashes very much, but I get a couple more hang-ups and stalls on the Asus now and then, but nothing to the level that would be alarming to me. With the driver updates on both of these, those Intel Atom typical problems like not waking from sleep if you've been leaving it sleeping overnight, those are taken care of on both of these devices. When it comes to cameras, both of these are better than average. They have 8 megapixel rear cameras. Now, 8 megapixels, well, that's not everything, but it does help. And in both cases, they actually have pretty responsive camera applications that take pictures fairly quickly, no lag like we saw in the Acer Iconia W510, which, well, God, took about 3 seconds after you hit the shutter button for it to actually take a picture. Not a problem here, and they both take fairly sharp pictures with good color and video for tablets, so a little bit above average there, and they both have good front cameras as well for video chat. Now, in terms of battery life, all these Intel Atom tablets running Windows 8 absolutely rock. You get long battery life with any of them, fanless design, quiet operation, cool operation. And both of these, as I said, offer the extended battery in the keyboard dock for nearly doubling your run times. With both of these tablets, I go at 8 to 9 hours just using the tablet. Wow, really awesome. And we're using the keyboard dock around 14 hours, sometimes 15 hours. I would say the Asus lasts a little bit longer. I get about 40 minutes or so when I'm using the combined dock plus tablet for run times, but they're both quite close. They're both excellent, and really the versatility of the battery in the keyboard dock really just means you can go days without charging this thing depending on how much you use it. It's pretty amazing. So what do I like about the Asus? I love having that real Wacom digitizer and digital pen to use. Like having the HDMI port and the USB available on the tablet itself without having to use the keyboard dock. But the HP, I absolutely love the build quality and the look of the device. I love the price point. Now that it's discounted at many retailers, man, it just seems like a real bargain. I slightly prefer the keyboard and the HP. Honestly, they're both quite good and they're both better than average for mobile keyboard docks, but keys are a little bit bigger on the HP. I like that quite a lot. What don't I like about each of these? Well, this has to do with marketing, but honestly, this guy having Beats audio, it just sounds like your average tablet. I was a little bit disappointed with that. Plug in headphones and you're pretty good to go. Other than that, I really have no complaints with the HP. It's been pretty responsive for everyday office tasks, productivity, streaming video, the kinds of things that Intel Atom tablet was meant to do well. With the Asus, it handles those things just fine, but again, I've seen a little more instability, occasional lags and some problems with that, and my biggest qualm with it, honestly, is the price. So that's the Asus VivoTab TF810C versus the HP Envy X2. And as you can see, they have a lot in common, and the biggest differentiators, at least in the US, are going to be price, where they're priced quite far apart, and the Wacom digitizer on the Asus with that digital pen view, note takers. Oh, and there's also the GPS too, for those who actually want to use this for location, getting directions, that kind of thing. Be sure to watch our video reviews of both of these products. Read our written reviews on Mobile Tech Review. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.